let's get some terminology stuff out here first. I find it, I'm not sure if it's an educational issue. I speak to a lot of women. I say, how long is your cycle? And the first thing they tell me is how long they menstruate for. So it's this weird kind of disconnect. And I think it's just people aren't really educated in school about this. Most people conflate their cycle is to how long they menstruate. So a woman's cycle is their entire hormonal cycle. Usually it's 26 to 30 days, right? From day one to the first day of bleeding to the next day one, that's their whole cycle, right? Which is built on a follicular phase, right? Where the follicle grows and estrogen predominates. It's built on ovulation, where estrogen predominates and progesterone rises. That's ovulation. And then it's built on the luteal phase, the last half. So think F follicular first, think L luteal last, okay? And then luteal is where progesterone predominates. And a lot of the cycle irregularities may happen because of estrogen bouncing around or progesterone being either too low or dropping out too soon. And so when we talk about a woman's cycle, that's the full cycle. When we talk about menstruation, that's the period, right? So most women, they confuse menstruation and cycle length. So menstruation is when flow is happening, period, blood flow. And the cycle is going to be the entire length of that hormonal rhythm. Day one, the first day of their bleeding, blood flow, to the next day one, that's your cycle. So just from a terminological standpoint, so when we're looking at the heavy menstrual flow and a lot of the irregularities, it tends to happen a couple of days to even a week before we have blood flow. And of course, some women, when there's a lot of estrogen dominance occurring and that progesterone drops out too soon in the cycle, and I'm doing a lot of hand gesture stuff, so people aren't quite following on the auditory side. We'll put the video link below so you can see the video. But when that progesterone drops out a little too soon in the cycle, that's where we have a lot of menstrual flow. And this can really mess a lot of women up because of what I said earlier. You're going to have a lot of low iron here, low iron, low hemoglobin, and then your ability to carry oxygen really gets impaired. And that's going to make it hard to generate aerobic metabolism and support the mitochondria. Mitochondria needs oxygen. So we need that. So that's one of the collateral damages of menstrual regularities is the menstrual flow. And then of course, other things can happen like irritability, breast tenderness, back pain, mood issues, brain fog. But the key thing that that's going to happen after that is going to be a lot of that blood flow driving the anemia and the low iron and the low hemoglobin and the
Yeah,
fatigue.
I would, yeah, I was going to say the fatigue is probably the big one, right? Maybe exercise intolerance. These are women that they feel like they have to do some exercise. Maybe they're pushing themselves hard, but they just don't feel like they have enough gas in the tank to get the exercise done. It just feels abnormally difficult to do physical things. And then hair loss is big too. I mean, we've seen countless times on blood work where women will show up with really low ferritin and they'll say that every time they take a shower, I mean, they're losing a clump of hair, per shower. And that's just insane.
Yep, 100%.